Hello and welcome to another edition recapping this Division II baseball slate over the past week, and we hope everyone enjoyed their Easter Sunday. To those who celebrate it, and to those who don't, we hope that they just enjoyed a Sunday off. It's very rare here in Division II baseball air right now, so hope you enjoyed that Sunday off. But we're going to talk a lot about it. First, we're going to talk about our rankings. So we have two new teams in the top 25. We have Maryville and Westmont entering our 25. We have East Stroudsburg jumping up from 18 to 13. They've won 21 in a row. And Point Loma now jumps into the top 5 at 5. And then a few teams that dropped. Missouri Southern, they dropped to 7. Young Harris dropped to 8. But there's a lot of good talent here as we race towards the finish. Will, there's a month left for some conferences of college baseball regular season before their conference tournament. So this is shaping up to be a good finish, and we're excited for it. But we're excited to get right into it too. So we'll start with the CACC and start in the North Division. Post, they're 12-14 overall, 4-1 in the CACC North. They played a Tuesday conference doubleheader against Chestnut Hill, winning both games and pitching a shutout in both games. Matt Saman threw the program's first no-hitter, going 7 with 6 strikeouts. He's 4-2 with a 2.98 ERA. The second game, Brennan Holligan made his second start of the year, his 8th appearance on the mound. Went the distance. He went 7 with 3 hits allowed, no runs, 6 strikeouts, and he sports a 1.44 ERA in 25 innings. Felician, they're 15-15, 5-2 in the North. They improved their win streak to a -5 games after a Tuesday doubleheader sweep of Holy Family. They didn't allow a run in either game. In Game 1, Mike Calvin went 5 innings, allowed 5 hits, and struck out 8. The junior now has a 3.68 ERA with 57 strikeouts in 44 innings. Thomas Kendrick leads the team in hitting at 376. Caldwell, they're 6-9 but 5-2 in the North, tied with Felician in second place. They had a great doubleheader sweep on Tuesday at home versus Goldie Beacom. And in that doubleheader, Michael Cruz went 4 for 7 with a home run and 7 RBI. Cruz, who leads the team with a 3.82 average, has hit safely in the last 6 and has recorded at least an RBI in each of his last 5 games. The Cougars also got complete games from Elias Negron, 7 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned run, a strikeout, and Brandon Scalisi, 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 5 strikeouts. Dominican, they're 4-2 in the North, 9-17 overall. They had a solid 3-1 week. They split a doubleheader with Wilmington, Delaware. And then they won both games of a doubleheader against Bloomfield, and their win against Wilmington. The Chargers scored 12 runs in the 7th to win 17-5. So that was a 7-inning ball game, and hey, 12 runs later, they won by 12. Most of the offense during the week was led by Davin Cadell Tucky, whose 7 for 16 performance raised to his average to an impressive 4.15 on the year. Bridgeport, 4-18 overall, 2-3 in the North. They went 1-2 this week. They split a conference doubleheader against Chestnut Hill, and they lost against Assumption. So now on the CACC South side, there's 3 teams deadlocked for first at 4-3. We'll first talk about Jefferson. They're 15-9 overall. They had a perfect 4-0 week, and they set a program record for 35 runs in their conference doubleheader sweep against Bloomfield. The Rams also beat Adelphi and DeViewville in non-conference action. Gabe Silva struck out 12 and gave up 1 run in his 5 innings to go 2-0 on the year with an incredible .47 ERA in 19 innings. Chris McLean is hitting .357. He had 6 hits over the weekend with a couple homers and 10 RBI. Marquise Wood had 5 stolen bases and now is a perfect 19 for 19 on the season in stolen base attempts. Goldie Beacom, they went 2-2, losing both to Caldwell, like we mentioned earlier, but then they win both games against Bloomfield. Braden Colemansberger, he's hitting .315. He's got a 13-game hit streak and an RBI streak of 9 games, as he had 2 home runs and 8 RBI over the last week. Colemansberger is tied for the team lead in homers with 7 and leads in RBI with 33. Nate Miller continues to climb down in ERA as it's lowered to 1.17 in 30 2/3 innings. He's in the top 10 nationally, after going 6 innings of 1-run ball with 7 Ks. Holy Family, the third team that's 4-3, they're 12-14 overall. They went 0-2 this past week. They dropped both games to Felician. Wilmington, like we mentioned earlier, they split their doubleheader. Chase Fleming threw 4 innings without allowing an earned run in the first game, and now he's thrown 15 straight innings without allowing an earned run. And lastly, Bloomfield. They were the last team to open up their season. They opened up their season this past week on Tuesday. Unfortunately, though, they played 6 games this week and dropped all 6. However, Alexander Menendez went 6 for 16 this past week and leads the team with a 375 batting average. So we can officially say every Division II baseball team has started their season now here in early April.
Yes, that's right. And I find it interesting right now when we're looking within this league, Robert, because when you bring up post, I'm intrigued right now because they're a team that, as we detailed it before, and if you didn't know, they went 22-3 last season within conference. But right now, they started the year off slow, but they were playing really good teams. Teams down in Florida to start the year, like Palm Beach Atlantic and Nova Southeastern, and obviously Lynn and North Greenville. And now they're under 500, 12-14, but they start conference playoff on the right foot. They're 4-1 within league play right now. So I'm impressed, and I'm impressed by what Matt was able to do on the mound. Matt Saman is a really good arm that they got from St. John's, and he's starting to throw the ball extremely well over his last couple outings. And it feels like, for me, you're going to either be looking at a Goldie Beacom or Post team. Those are the two teams that I would think would finish first in their respective divisions right now. However, Robert, we are going to continue right now on to our next conference that we're going to break down, and it's going to be the CCAA. And it'll be a Cal State Monterey Bay team who returned to the top of the conference standings after taking 3 of 4 from Cal State LA this past week. And for them, JJ Ingman is a guy we talk about once again. He had 5 hits over the weekend, and he leads the team hitting .389. Ryan Platero threw 6 shutout innings in his start, 3 hits, no runs, 8 Ks, to improve to 5-1 on the year with an ERA and eyelash above 4. So Monterey Bay at 21-11 and 17-7 within CCAA play. They're receiving votes in our top 25 poll. Cal State East Bay, 1 game below 500. However, they took a big home series against previously the top-ranked team in the league, Cal State San Marcos, who drops to 16-7 within league play, winning 2 of 3 games with one of those being canceled. And Matthew O'Mani has hit safely in 6 games in a row. I think I might have butchered the name. However, you can't butcher what he's been able to do at the plate recently. 5 of 11 with a home run and 6 runs driven in. And he leads the team hitting .374, 1 home run with 7 on the season. And then Gabe Tanner, who leads the team with an ERA at .417 through 7 innings of 3-run ball, struck out 7. He moves to 6-2 on the season. And then there's a Cal Poly Pomona team who took a series at home against San Fran State, who had shown us some pretty solid things in stretches and flashes this year, but they get 3 of 4 from them. Tyler Shaffey went 7-16 with a bomb, 4 RBI. He's now hitting .370 on the year and 46 at-bats. He started 11 games, and all 4 of the Broncos starters went 6+ with 3 or fewer earned runs. So that's a credit to guys like Caleb Reyes, who we expected to be one of the best arms in the league this season. He went 7, allowed 1 earned. And then Evan Adolphus, Reese Stevens, Noel Soto. That is an impressive 1-4 punch that they have. And also David Eichhorn. He continued to shove, throwing 8 shutout innings for the Gators with 8 Ks in their lone win against Cal Poly Pomona. So on the other side of the equation, they still have Eichhorn throwing the ball well for San Fran State. A 1 whip in 56 innings and also has a .370 ERA. Cal State Dominguez Hills, they picked up a 3-game series win over Chico State. They're now a team that is 7-12. Dominguez Hills is 12-11 is Chico State within conference play, with the 4th game also being canceled due to weather. in just a 3-game set. Pat McDonald, he spun a good outing, 5 innings of 1-run ball with 4 strikeouts. For Cal State, Dominguez Hills, the bullpen of Anthony Corrales, Chris Cornelius, Miguel Marin, and Justin Abercrombie combined for 6 innings of 1-run ball over the weekend. Also, Sonoma State and Stanislaus State split a 4-game set. Christopher Wright has now hit safely in 6 straight games for Sonoma State, as he had 6 hits and 13 at-bats with a home run and 4 RBI over the weekend. He's tied for the team lead in home runs, and he leads the way with 26 RBIs. And then Cal State San Bernardino, they were off this week, a team sitting at 500 right now, a team that, has not lived up to the expectations that we expected them to have. And I know that with what they did a season ago, it's not just us in that category. I think everybody around that camp expected a lot. They're 14-14, 7-11. You always get to a point in the year where you're like, hey, if they win out, but that rarely happens to baseball, but they're going to have to play incredibly well if they want to replicate the success that they had a season ago. Near perfect. You wouldn't think they'd be able to drop another one, but they host Chico State in a 4-game set upcoming this weekend, and that is your breakdown, Robert, of the CACC. Of the CCAA, excuse me, Robert. You got me on the other one.
The CCAA, yeah.
Yes.
And, like with what you said with San Bernardino and Pomona, it really comes down to pitching. So if San Bernardino can play well enough to get into the conference tournament, they're currently on the outside looking in, 2 spots away, 5 weeks left to go, and they already used their bye week, so here we are. But we know that they have, in most pitching categories, amongst the top in the conference in those pitching categories like ERA and strikeouts and strikeout to walk ratio. So really, if they get the conference tournament, I would still think they have a chance with that pitching staff, because pitching will play in those when you play so many games in a short amount of time. So
yeah,
really, really interesting to see how that plays out. But speaking of really, really interesting to see how something plays out, we're going to talk about the Conference Carolinas, because, we have not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 teams within that conference ranked in our top 15. And we have to talk about a Mount Olive team first, because, they're in first place in the Conference Carolinas. They're 24-8 overall, 14-3. They're number 11. They've won 10 in a row. They beat Wingate in a midweek game, and then they swept Chowan. Landon Chaboy has hit safely in 9 straight after going 7 for 15 with a home run and 5 driven in. He leads the team with a 400 batting average and 31 driven in. Eric Johnson spun another good start, 5 innings of 1 earned run ball with 7 strikeouts, improved 4-1 with a team-leading 2.62 ERA and an impressive 54 strikeout to 8 walk ratio. As another team we like to talk about is North Greenville. They swept then ranked number 5 Young Harris. North Greenville advanced to number 4 in our rankings. And, Caleb Hall, the Conference Carolinas Player of the Week, he improved his hit streak to 9 games. He went 6 of 13 with a home run and 6 driven in. Bryce Roddy also delivered with the bat. He went 7 for 9 with 2 doubles and 3 RBI to improve his average above 300 to 305. Another team that's within our top 10 is Barton at number 9. They're 28-7, 11-7 in league play. They went 4-1 this past week. They lost at North Greenville on Monday. Then they defeated Virginia State in a midweek game Tuesday, then swept King over the weekend. Matthew Rivera went 8 of 18 with 3 home runs and 10 RBI on the week. He leads the team in hitting at 389, OPS at 1276, and home runs at 7. Matt Rivers has now thrown a 5th straight start of allowing exactly 1 earned run, as he went 6 innings of 1 run ball with 3 strikeouts to go, 3-2 with a team best 2.21 ERA. Belmont Abbey, they've won 3 games this past week. They beat Emmanuel to finish up a series on Monday. Then Emory and Henry on Tuesday and Lander on Wednesday. They didn't play over the weekend. Todd Villada, he's hitting 284 now, but he provided a spark at the bottom of the order for the Crusaders, going 8 of 14 with 2 doubles and 7 driven in. Alex Sniffen went 6 innings and allowed just 1 run with 4 strikeouts in his start to go to 6-1. UNC Pembroke, they're 25-9. They're ranked 14th. They had a perfect week. They went 4-0 after a midweek walk-off against a ranked Catawba team and a weekend sweep of Erskine. Joey Rezick went 7 for 17 with 3 homers and 8 RBI. And he had exactly 2 RBI in each game of the week. Rezick is leading the team with 12 home runs and is second behind Cody O'Connor, who has 43 RBI, and Rezick has 41 RBI. Luke Barrow is now 3-0 after throwing 5 innings, allowing 7 hits, 1 run, no walks, and striking out 8 batters. Another team we'd like to talk about is Emmanuel, 21-14, 10-8 in conference play. They swept their weekend set against Francis Marion. Nick Deach raises OPS to a team-leading 1,095 after smacking 2 home runs and a double with 7 RBI over the weekend. Deach also leads the team with 32 driven in. So, in essence, that's a little bit of the Conference Carolinas. It's really shaping up in the Southeast region to see, we have 5 teams ranked in the top 15, but there's a chance that if the other conferences like the Peach Belt and the SAC, certain teams don't win that conference tournament, one of those teams will be on the outside looking in.
Yes, 100%. And one thing that is cool about this as we progress throughout the season, conference tournaments starting, later on in the month, and obviously as we continue to progress. One thing that we'll plan to do is break down what regionals look like for those that maybe are new to following Division II baseball because you've enjoyed content from DIVII this season. And there's no better example than explaining that in some regions, you get 6 teams. Some you get 7 teams, Robert. Some you get 8. And so with it looking like this, and that's obviously the other component of that is some regions are composed of 2 conferences. Some have 3 different ones. And so it's very interesting when it's specifically 7 teams that get in here, like you mentioned, but within 3 different conferences. And when you look at this, Conference Carolinas, if there's a bid stealer, you definitely could see a top 15 team not make a regional, at least how we have it now. I know there's a lot to play out. And if we're going to have commentary after you break down a conference, if any conference, it should be this league. And I'm trying to think right now, like if you're the committee, North Greenville just took the series, swept Young Harris, like you're probably putting them as the number 1 seed right now. But then it's like, how about a Mount Olive team? Their resume is just as good, if not better. And then Barton's right there just winning. So those 3 teams probably would be the top 3 seeds in this regional. That's the interesting part, too, of what's going to happen. Obviously, we'll try to break all that down and explain all that, Robert. I'm really looking forward to that because I think it definitely is something we could do to help the fans understand what the teams need to do and what these postseason formats look like. Because, shoot, sometimes we don't know. They change yearly going from different formats and obviously with the super regional format here this season. However, as you break down Conference Carolinas, and speaking of regionals, hell, we're going to see a lot of teams there. We know that. We're going to talk about the East Coast Conference, and we're going to talk about Queens, who currently sits atop of the conference right now after a series win against Mercy. They took 3 of 4 games. The Knights nearly took down East Stroudsburg, losing on a walk-off, though, in a midweek contest. They split a Monday doubleheader against Lincoln. 2 of the 3 games between Queens and Mercy were high offensive showdowns, with Queens winning both by the scores of 17-15 and 16-15. And Jorsix Jimenez, the best hitter on the team with a 4.08 average, went 14 of 31 on the week with a home run and 11 runs driven in. He is someone to keep watching as he is atop the conference right now in many offensive categories. Matt Phillip also took over the team lead in home runs after hitting 4 this past weekend. He's now on 5. He's now has 5 on the year. Mercy, they had a few hitters that provided a spark in the lineup at the plate. Most notably, it was Gabe Sanders, who went 9 of 18 with 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, and it puts him at the team lead with a .333 batting average this season. Another guy to look out for on this Mavericks offense is Zach Ashline, whose 2 power balls this past weekend Big bombs for him. Put him at 11 home runs on the season. That leads the league. Malloy, they picked up a 3-game series win against St. Thomas Aquinas, where both the Lions' wins were from the offensive performance and output for them, scoring 12 or more. In each of the 2 wins, Matt Yip has a 5-straight multi-hit game streak going after a 6-for-11 week for him with a couple of home runs and 5 runs driven in the series. Ryan Hines improved to 4-1 for Malloy. He went 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, 3 walks, 8 Ks for them. St. Thomas Aquinas, as we mentioned, beginning conference play on that series loss to Malloy. However, Cole Lindquist, a freshman, threw the ball well in 2 starts over the week. So a name not just to watch right now, but for years to come when a freshman can toe the rubber and spin it against a good team like he did. 5 innings of 1-run ball against Pace on Tuesday, 6 innings of 1-run ball with 8 Ks to get the lone win against Malloy over the weekend. A 1.83 ERA and 19 2/3 for the Spartans. Staten Island 10-13. They're 5-3 in conference play. They picked up a weekend sweep of Lincoln, scoring 8 or more runs in each game of the series. Thomas Martin recorded an RBI in each game of the series, totaling 10 with 2 home runs to boot. Chris Pulmeni scored a lot from Martin, 10 times to be exact, as he went 8 of 14 with 4 stolen bases, and he is now this is impressive, an impressive 16 of 16 on the season. Robert, that's pretty good. I mean, just to get 1 stolen base, I'd be happy, but he has 16 on 16 tries. Dewville also, they stepped out of conference play to play Jefferson and Westchester. Going 0 of 3 on the weekend, Jeremy Galinsky, he leads the team hitting .359, while John Simpson leads the team in the power department with 17 extra base hits, 9 bombs, and 32 driven in. So that is a breakdown of the East Coast Conference. And, it's interesting when we break down the East region, not one power really blowing us away. So opportunity across the board for quite a bit of teams.
Absolutely, Will. And when you want to talk about teams that really have stood out, like Queens is supposed to be the team that is up there. Obviously, they won the conference tournament last year, but obviously you can't forget about Malloy, who has been a perennial top team in the ECC for years. So it'll be interesting to see how that shapes out. Again, we'll break it down for you in a future episode, but one of these teams from the ECC or the CACC or the NE10 will represent that East region and in carry over the season. But
yeah,
speaking of representation, we have to talk about the Great American Conference, as there's quite a bit to talk about in the Great American Conference. As you can already tell, Southern Arkansas, they're back in first, while Northwestern Oklahoma State, Arkansas Tech, Harding, Henderson State, and Monticello are all tied for second in the league. Southern Arkansas, they swept Ouachita Baptist, and they have a 2-game lead in first place in the GAC. They have 5 teams tied for second place, like we mentioned earlier. It was a much-needed sweep for the Mule Riders after losing 2 of the last 3 weekends, including being swept for the second time ever in GAC play last week. But in that battle between 2 first-place teams, SAU's pitching only surrendered 9 runs during the 3 games set to pick up the sweep. They had 31 total hits during the doubleheader on Friday, and Jeremy Adorno broke the career strikeout record in the series opener with his 6 strikeouts. He went 8 innings, allowed 3 hits, and just 1 earned run. He has 324 career strikeouts, and it put him past former SAU All-American Hayden Simpson. Ouachita now sits in 7th place, but just a game shy of the 5 teams tied for second place. Northwestern Oklahoma State, they took 2 of 3 against Southeastern Oklahoma State in Durant, Oklahoma. Nwosu has won 11-1 in the opener and then 4-3 in Game 2, while losing the series finale by around 7-6 with the series win. They're now one of 5 teams tied for second place with a 13-8 record in GAC play. Southeastern is currently last in the league The Rangers took Game 2 of the series dramatically as Carson Wright hit a home run in the ninth inning. And then the Savage Storm came out to score 6 on the Rangers to steal the series via a walk-off grand slam from Reed Rice. And that's in our D2BI top 10. So see which number it is when you subscribe to our magazine in our top 10. Arkansas Tech, they took 2 of 3 against Arkansas Monticello. They both are in the 5-way tie for second place. Monticello took the opener behind Connor Irvine's strong 7 2/3 performance, but 7-5, 9-4 wins for Tech on Saturday secured the series. They collide. Arkansas Tech and Southern Arkansas collide in a big GAC series to watch. Cameron Tanner went 9-17 with 2 home runs and 5 RBI last week for Monticello. Henderson State, they took 2 of 3 against Harding over the weekend, winning the series finale 8-1 to force that 5-way tie. Caden Argenbright had 5 hits in the series and hit safely in a career-best 13 games for Henderson State. They played Monticello on the road this weekend. He was also 13-8 in the league. Despite scoring 28 runs in the series opener and 15 runs in Game 2 of the series, Oklahoma Baptist lost 2 of 3 games to East Central at Ken Turner Field over the weekend. East Central lost 28-14 in the opener, but won 16-15 on a walk-off and capped out the series finale with a 3-1 win. So that's big for an East Central team there. It was the first GAC series win for the Tigers since April 2022. So exactly a big series win for them. OBU scored 11 runs in the ninth inning during the series opener to make it 28-14 after it was 17-14. In Game 2, Tanner Collins singled to secure the 16-15 win in the 10th to get that walk-off after that 14-8 deficit to snap OBU's then 6-game win streak at the time. In the finale, Cal Birchfield won the distance, allowed just 1 earned run to pick up his second win of the year and to secure the series. Dick Blankenship went 8-14 for East Central. Spencer Dickinson went 9-17 with 11 RBI and 4 home run on the week for the Bison. Southwestern Oklahoma State, they swept Southern Nazarene to improve to 10-11 in GAC play, and now they're 1 spot outside the top 8. Jackson Phillips tossed a complete game shutout in the series finale and moved to 6-1 on the year. It was his second complete game shutout for Phillips in conference play this season, while allowing just 2 hits and having 6 strikeouts to no walks for the 6'4" left-hander. So that's quite a mouthful of the Great American Conference.
It absolutely is, Robert. It's a mouthful, and it's something where, I mean, minds and eyes start to head toward the postseason. You know, if teams beat up on each other like this, depending on, you know, NSIC, MIAA, like, you know, how many bids are you going to get out of this GAC? The traditional power of Southern Arkansas had disappointed, losing a couple of series before getting a good win this weekend. But this is the most intriguing conference race in my eyes in the entire country. Find me one where you have, you know, all the top 8 within a couple games. It's pretty impressive. It's a great league, and I'm excited to continue to follow it. Now, a league that's caught my eye and a team that has caught my eye is a conference we'll talk about here within the Midwest region, and it's going to be the GLIAC, and it's a Saginaw Valley team who there were some people saying, hey, you need to talk about a Saginaw Valley team. Will, we see you guys, Robert, we see you guys talking about this team and that team. How about this team? And that's what we do. How about this team? How about that team? And guess what? We're talking about them now. How about a Saginaw Valley team that moved to 19-7 overall? They're 8-1, Robert, in GLIAC play. Pretty impressive for them. They went 5-1 on the week. The one loss was to a Division I team in Central Michigan. And they beat Wayne State and Davenport and Purdue Northwest in GLIAC play during the week. Saginaw's next 5 games will be against Wayne State. So they already beat Wayne State once. We'll play them 5 more times, including 4 upcoming this weekend, then 1 on Tuesday. Huge instrumental series for both of these teams that we think highly of. It's like, okay, Wayne State, we think you're great. You've struggled against good teams. And then Saginaw's coming, and they've played really, really well. One of the most impressive resumes in this league, and probably the most, at least at this point, in time. So for Saginaw Valley, now receiving votes, garnering that attention from them, we're going to be locked into seeing what they could do against the Warriors after they already beat them last week in a midweek 13-10. And again, it sounds like we could just pick any episode and just pull together when we talk about Saginaw Valley, because it's the same old talk about Hayden Jacek. He only went 14 of 31 at the plate, a little bit down for him, and he hit about 500 this week in 7 GLIAC games. Again, a little bit down week, but again, hitting 500, pretty impressive. And he had 4 doubles, 3 bombs. He scored 15 runs, drove in 16 over 8 games during the week. He is second in the conference in batting average, first in slugging, tied for first in home runs, and he leads the league with 38 RBIs. Oh, not to mention he also is leading the league with a 1.61 ERA. He tossed 7 innings of 2 earned action in a 3-2 win over Davenport. So, again, more Hayden Jacek talk, but again, when you're looking like a perhaps National Player of the Year, we're going to continue to talk about you. Stephen Hecht also went 11 innings across 2 starts over the week, 5 shutout against Parkside, and then 6 innings of 3-run ball against Purdue Northwest to pick up 2 wins on the week. But again, huge week for them. Brandon Schooner also went 14 of 28 with 12 runs scored, a double, 4 triples, and 7 RBI with 7 walks on the week for the Cardinals. And then Colin Cornwell, he is playing at a really high level, hitting .464, one of the best marks in the league, and hit safely in all 8 games this week. So impressive for him, and overall just a very nice thing that you see happening for this group right now. Wayne State, they're 3-2. Over the week, they went 3-2 over the week, losing 1 to Saginaw Valley. They then swept Parkside and split with Grand Valley State. The formidable Carter Fitzpatrick went 7 innings with 8 Ks, no walks, to move to 5-1 on the season. And he had a complete game in the process. Seth Morano also went the distance with 7 innings, 2 earned, 6 Ks. He moved to 4-1 on the season. They've now won 18 straight games against the Rangers of Wisconsin Parkside. Fitzpatrick has a .98 whip on the season and a league-leading 62 Ks. He has 7+ strikeouts in all starts but 1, while Griffin Killander is second best in the league in strikeouts with 52, adding 7 more this week in 6 innings, despite picking up the loss in a 6-1 game against Grand Valley State. So for GVSU, Mike Morosky went 7 1/3, allowing 1 run on 6 hits, 5 Ks, 1 walk-in, route to the win over Wayne State. He allowed 2 hits to the first 3 batters of the game, then allowed just 4 hits over the next 7 innings. That was also en route to GLIAC Pitcher of the Week honors. GVSU split with Purdue Northwest and Wayne State over the weekend in GLIAC play. They've got an upcoming 4-game set with Wisconsin Parkside coming up this weekend. And then on Friday, it was Avery Owen who got the job done. 6 shutout, 8 Ks to improve to 2-0 on the year to get the victory over Purdue Northwest. Seth Morano also went the distance the day before, as mentioned, 6 Ks and now 4-1. And when we look at what is happening here, Davenport, a team that split with Parkside on Saturday, they got swept by Saginaw Valley on Friday, both in doubleheader action. They've got 4 games set upcoming with Purdue Northwest this weekend. Austin Vandermark went 6 shutout innings versus Parkside to get the win and move to 2-1 on the season in his second start of the year. Parkside has lost 2 on Monday to SVSU, got swept on Friday versus Wayne State before splitting against Davenport. Andrew Harris went 7 of 13, 2 doubles over the week. And Peter Fussix hitting .372 on the year as he leads the league with 15 stolen bases after tallying 3 more this week as he's on a 6-game hit streak. PNW split with GVSU, as we mentioned, and they got swept by Saginaw Valley on Saturday in GLIAC action this week. And that's a breakdown of the GLIAC. I know a smaller league and a lot to mention, but Wayne State, Saginaw Valley, get ready for some great pitching matchups.
Absolutely. Well, I think you wrapped it up beautifully. And so with that wrapping up beautifully, we're going to continue on and go into the Great Lakes Valley Conference and talk a little bit about that. So the ball was flying in the Midwest today, and especially in the Great Lakes Valley Conference, as 9 players had 3 or more home runs this past week in the GLVC. First, we got to talk about Maryville, obviously. They entered our top 25. As the Saints continue to impress, and now they lead the league with a 14-2 record after sweeping UMSL over the weekend. The Saints have won 7 in a row, and they concluded their sweep with a Michael Gould walk-off. UMSL drops to 8-8 GLVC play, tied for 6th in the league. Jack Seabig from Maryville went 9-14 with a double, a home run, and 4 RBI. UND is 13-3, sitting at second in the standings, but their long win streak has turned into a 3-game losing streak after dropping 3 straight games to Rockhurst at home. Rockhurst fell 21-4 in 7 innings in Game 1, but had an impressive series finish to move to 500 in GLVC play. Adonis Forte was big for the Hawks as he went 8-15 with 8 runs scored and 3 home runs for Rockhurst. Easton Good for UIndy. He's hitting .406 with 24 stolen bases in 27 games. Drury, they hosted Quincy and took 3 of 4, and they're now third in the GLVC standings at 12-4 mark. This moves QU to 7-9, which is the 8th spot in the league right now. Cade Waits, he moved to 5-0 in the season. He went 7 innings, allowed 4 earned run, and struck out 7 during that complete game. Austin Simpson, he's hitting .480 with 10 bombs, which is one of the most impressive marks in the nation. UIS, they swept Missouri S&T. They scored 68 runs during the sweep. That included a 25-24 series opening win, which was the highest scoring D2 baseball game this season. The other one involved the GLVC team as Washburn took down, I believe off the top of my head, it was a Rockhurst team. So 29-19. So that now surpasses that. But despite the sweep and dominant offensive effort, it took 2 one-run games, 25-24 and 10-9. One-run efforts over the minors secured a sweep. Ivan Dahlberg went 8-15 with 11 runs scored, 3 doubles, 3 home runs, and 10 RBI over the week for UIS. Mark Catula went 10-18 with 2 doubles and 2 home runs. Kenneth Sugi went 11-19 for the minors in the high-scoring series. Brant Vanneman drove in 11 runs over the weekend, and he has the best RBI per game total in the nation right now for the Prairie Stars. William Jewell took 3 of 4 versus Southwest Baptist, scoring 46 runs in the first 2 games of the series, 18-28 respectively, and winning the final game of the series 6-3 while dropping the third game 2-0. Alex Epp went 8-16 with 9 runs scored, 3 doubles and 3 home runs. The lone win for SBU, it was because of an excellent outing from Jaden Thacker. He went 7 innings and did not allow an earned run versus the Cardinals. Levi Ebersold went 8 innings, allowed 1 earned, and a 6-3 win for William Jewell in his first start of the season. Evan Gilbert went 9-16 for the Cardinals last week as he handled the bat well. Lewis and Truman split. Luke Carlson went 5 shutout for Lewis despite a 2-1 loss. Also, Truman had a big comeback in the 9th inning as they were down at 9-2 to win 10-9 in their game. So that's very interesting. Upper Iowa, they split at McKendree. Brandon Roth had 4 hits over the weekend, and, well, they all went over the fence. One of those bombs, they hit 11 in the series, came behind a 3-home run 9th inning for the Bearcats. They came back to win Game 2 of the series 8-7 after scoring 5 runs at the bottom of the 9th. Gabe Bombardier went 7-15 for the Peacocks of Upper Iowa over the weekend, and that will cover the GLVC.
A lot to cover in the Great Lakes. Maryville enters rankings. A UIndy streak gets snapped. And Rockhurst takes a series at UIndy. And Drury looking like a really good GLVC team. Maryville, Drury, Indy, the top 3 dogs in the Great Lakes Valley Conference right now, with Maryville looking like they're cut from a different fabric, perhaps cut from a different fabric than any team in the Midwest region right now, and maybe a team that could rival them in terms of resumes as a team in the GMAC as we start talking about the Great Midwest Athletic Conference. In Ashland, a team is in first place. That's the team we mentioned, probably going to be rivaling Maryville for that 1 seed in the region right now as we do our way too early predictions. But they're in first place at 7-1. They're 20-3 right now as they're ranked 12th in our latest D2BI poll. They've won 6 straight after sweeping Malone over the weekend. They only allowed 10 runs in the process. They've got arms, and they outscored Malone 45-10 over the 4-game set. John Essig went 5 shutout innings out of the bullpen with 6 Ks and has 34 on the season in 22 innings with a 2.86 ERA. Jeremiah Cangelosi also 10-15, 8 runs scored, 3 doubles, and 6 RBIs. He raised his batting average from 382 to 434 over the weekend. So a great weekend for him. Trevecca Nazarene is now 9-3 in GMAC play, in third place in the standings as they've won 5 games in a row after a sweep of Hillsdale over the weekend. Abbott Lawrence had a multi-hit game in all 4 games of the series, going 9 of 16 with 7 runs scored, a double, a triple, and a home run with 9 RBI, and also drawing 3 walks. On the weekend, Andrew Baker, David Millam, and Haven Mangrum also went off, combining for 27 hits together, which that doesn't include the 9 that Lawrence had. So a lot of guys were swinging the bat well for Trevecca. Millam was the GMAC player of the week, reaching base 14 times in 18 at-bats for the Trojans in their sweep of Hillsdale. They outscored him 65-22 in the series. And Caleb Marks, he's continuing to make his mark on the mound right now. He's had his 3rd straight start with 10-plus Ks without allowing an earned run. And he went 7 innings, allowed no earned runs, as we mentioned, in the midst of that streak with 10 Ks. And he picked up his 3rd straight win to move to 3-0 on the season with a 1.62 ERA. Kentucky Wesleyan lost 2 to Lake Erie this weekend, with 2 others being canceled. The Storm came back after trailing late in both games and had 2 big innings late to secure both wins, 5-4 and 5-2. Wesleyan is now 7-4 in 4th place in the league. Lake Erie is now 500 in GMAC play, as 9 of the 13 teams in the GMAC are 500 or better in conference play. Cade Morris hit safely in 11 of his last 12 games, including going 5 of 8 for the Panthers in 2 games this past week at Lake Erie, despite the losses. Northwood, they took 3 of 4 against Findlay, who had just lost 1 GMAC game of the year prior to that series. Northwood moves to 8-4 in GMAC action. Findlay 9-4. Jake Carroll threw the ball well, going 5 1/3 out of the pen across 2 appearances while not allowing a run and just 1 hit. He has not allowed an earned run in his last 6 appearances. Findlay had won 5 straight Logan Bragg outings, but the Oilers lost this weekend despite him throwing 7 2/3 and allowing 3 earned, as they lost 3-2. Ohio Dominican, they swept Thomas More on the road. They're now 5-3 in conference play. Peter Jelinek and C.J. Dean, they combined for 16 hits for ODU over the weekend. Lane Marshall had 8 hits in the series. He's hitting .453 on the season. He also had 2 scoreless outings in relief, going 2 innings and not surrendering a run or a hit in both outings, including picking up a win. It was just his 2nd and 3rd relief appearances of the year. But 4 scoreless innings, a win, and 8 hits, plus a home run and a couple doubles is a pretty good week for him. Also, Tiffin took 3 of 4 at home against Cedarville. They're now 7-6 in GMAC play. Walsh, a team that's currently 2nd in GMAC, they did not play this weekend. They lost midweek to California out of Pennsylvania in their lone game last week. And that is a breakdown of the GMAC.
And yeah, you broke it down pretty well, Will. And, it like we said, Ashland seems like they're at the top. And now the number 2 team currently is, a Trevecca Nazarene team. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out with who's going to be behind Ashland and who could threaten Ashland for that GMAC title. But we're going to transition now to the GNAC, and we're going to talk about the Great Northwest Conference. And, well, Northwest Nazarene, they are number 10 in our rankings, and deservingly so. They took 3 of 4 this weekend against Central Washington. They dropped the last game to him. Gavin Brewbreaker led the way for the Nighthawks. He went 7 of 13 with 5 driven in. He leads the team at hitting and 344 and 61 at-bats, which are 16 starts. Brian Rojas made his 2nd start for the season for Northwest Nazarene. He went 4 scoreless with 4 strikeouts and allowing just 1 hit. He hasn't allowed a run in 8 1/3 innings this season. Central Washington, they moved now tied for 2nd place at 9-7 in conference play. Junior Ben Lead extended his hit streak to 10 games and did everything he could to provide for CWU, going 9-16 with a home run and 7 RBI in the season. Lead took the team lead in just about every offensive category as he's hitting 406 with a 1,075 OPS. Kevin Baba Varner Jr. went 7-14 with a home run and 2 RBI. He's second on the team in hitting at 381. The other team that's tied with Central Washington, Western Oregon, 9-7, 15-14 overall. They won their series against MSU Billings, winning in the final 3 games to take the series. Owen Murdoch threw a 7-inning complete game in Game 2 of the series, allowing 7 hits, 3 runs, and struck out 6 batters. Randy Stoltz took advantage of his opportunities, going 7 of 12 with a home run and 8 RBI. Stoltz is now 11th or 31 on the season, hitting .355. St. Martin's, they were off this weekend, but they did play a single midweek game against Pacific Lutheran, winning 6-1. Alohi Areki went 2 for 2 with a double and 3 driven in that game. And Will, since the GNAC is 5 teams in our shortest conference, that will cover the GNAC.
It will, and you cover it at a high level when we break down that league. As we continue to progress, we'll talk about the Gulf South Conference, and we'll talk about an Auburn Montgomery team that they've won 9 straight ball games after the doubleheader sweep of CBU, including a season-high 24 runs in the final game of the series. Tyrese Rooks now hitting .348, 10-game hit streak, 5 hits, 5 RBI over the weekend. Cooper Doman also hit 2 home runs in 9 games and 9 RBI in Game 1 of the doubleheader. He's second on the team with 31 runs driven in. And yes, 2 bombs, 9 RBIs in a game for a young man is pretty impressive. Casey Clark also had 7 RBI over the weekend. He leads the team with 34. The Warhawks have 2-game midweek set against Lenore-Rhine before being off this weekend, but a 22-14 team that's 15-6 in Gulf South Conference play is a team that's pretty impressive so far right now. West Florida, they're now receiving votes. They had a 3-1 week, and they're 21-11, 13-5, a team that we had really, really high to start the year, and they continue to drop a little bit, but still a very impressive team and very impressive arms on the staff. They beat Spring Hill in a midweek game. They took 2 of 3 against Shorter on the weekend set. Darren McDowell homered twice in a midweek game, breaking the all-time West Florida home run record at 26. McDowell had 4 hits on the week, 2 homers, 4 RBI, and he's hitting an impressive .435 in Gulf South Conference play. 398 overall. Dalton Newshander also, he improved to 4-2 after throwing a 9-inning complete game. 7 hits, 1 run, no walks, and 3 strikeouts for him. And he's has a team best 2.32 ERA on the season right now in GSC play and a 2.54 ERA overall this year. Lee, ranked 20th in the country, dropped a midweek game against Tusculum, a team that's been pretty impressive in their own right this year, but returned to conference play by sweeping Alabama Huntsville, scoring 10 or more in each game of the series. Fresh off his D2BI National Player of the Week honor, Cam Sudo continued to deliver. He put an encore on as he came back out on stage and raked at the plate. 10 of 22, 2 bombs, 6 RBIs, had 4+ hits in 4 of his last 7 games. Dylan Standifer has an 18-game hit streak that got snapped in a midweek this past week, but picked right back up by going 7 of 14 with a home run and 6 RBIs during the weekend set. Standifer has hit safely in 15 straight GSC games and boasts a .429 average in conference play. We haven't said much lately as well about a Delta State team, but we're going to talk about them now after a 4-0 week all on the road. And the Statesmen beat ranked Southern Arkansas in a midweek game, and then they took down West Georgia this past weekend. And Logan Eldridge threw strong, 8 innings strong in game 1 of the series against West Georgia, allowing just 2 runs. He has an impressive 1.17 ERA in 46 innings with a 102 whip, one of the best stat lines as an arm in the entire nation. Valdosta State 16-12, 10-8 overall in conference play. They got a road series win against Montevideo, who's 21-14 and 12-6 in conference play, winning one of those games in extra innings. Dennis Pierce, He was a big contributor for the Blazers, going 5 of 11 with 2 home runs and 9 RBIs. He's hitting a team-high 400 on the season, boasts a 469 batting average in conference play, and has recorded a multi-RBI game in 5 of his last 7 games. The Valdosta State bullpen, something that you digged for, Robert, and you found that, hey, they're continuing to perform at a high level compared to their starters, as the bullpen threw 10 innings of 2 earned run ball to drop their ERA to 3.35 on the year, compared to just an ERA of 7.78 for the starters. West Alabama hosted Mississippi College. They took 2 of 3 games, allowing 3 runs in their 2 wins. Judah Buckner was excellent in relief to close out the series. He went 2 1/3 of hitless baseball, walking 1, striking out 5, getting the series win. Blake Vineyard also 5 hits, 3 of them for extra bases, to improve his slugging percentage to .487 in conference play. He's hitting .290 on the year, and that's a breakdown for you for that league in the Gulf South Conference.
Hey, and you break it down so well there, Will, that we're going to advance on and continue to break down now the Lone Star Conference, and we're going to talk a lot about the Lone Star Conference. And, well, you have to talk, obviously, about a team that continues to win, and that's West Texas A&M. They moved up to 16 in our rankings, or actually they stayed at 16, but, they're the conference, baseball championship starts a month from today, so we're excited for that. But West Texas A&M, they're 24-7 atop the standings, and Dylan Fesperman went 9 of 15 with 3 home runs, a double, and 14 RBI to lead the nationally ranked West Texas A&M team to a road series win over UAFS. This extended his hit streak to 24 games, second best in the country, behind Teron Hammond at Bluefield State, who's currently at 28. And he's batting .443, which is second in the league. He had 2 hits, 2 RBI in every game during the series. They impressively took 3 of 4 in Fort Smith and traveled to last place Oklahoma Christian this weekend. Kyle Mikolas and Elijah Batista combined for 18 hits over the week, as the trio Fesperman, Mikolas, and Batista had 12 extra base hits, 25 RBI over the weekend. So that's a pretty darn good trio to have those kind of numbers. Justice Hayes went 7 innings, complete game, and allowed just 1 earned run in his first start of the season, while picking up the win to move to 3-0 on the season. St. Edwards took 3 of 4 at Oklahoma Christian over the weekend. St. Edwards right fielder Jacob Rayfield is tied for a league best 6 wins, or except right-hander, not right fielder. Jacob Rayfield tied for a league best 6 wins. Davis Druick went 5 of 11 with 5 runs scored and 2 home runs. UTPB has won 7 in a row, as they took 3 games from ENMU, and they swept Cameron over a weekend. Their closer, Brock Robarts, has 7 saves to lead the league. Carson Johnson had 10 hits in the series. He has 15 hits in his last 6 games, raising his average from .257 to .337 during that stretch. He had a home run, 3 triples, and 2 doubles during the series as well. Trevor Barth went 8 innings, allowed 4 earned for the Falcons, as UTPB won 5-4 in that game. UT Tyler's coming off a 4-game sweep with the NMU, and now it's receiving votes in our poll. They allowed just 4 runs in the 4-game set, outscoring them 34-4 in the series. Wyatt Wick went 7 innings in his second start of the season, and his first outing of the season, while not allowing a run. In 5 appearances, he has a .73 ERA and a 1.62 WHIP, while being 1-0 after that impressive complete game shutout victory. Blake Labuda also went 6 of 12 with 2 doubles, a home run, and 9 RBI. Angelo State, number 17, Trip Clark, is leading the league in hitting at .467 and leads the Lone Star and the country with 54 RBI. Dax Daffy is tied for the league with 6 wins. ASU leads the league with a .526 ERA and a .975 fielding percentage. Angelo did not play this past weekend and traveled with Texas A&M International this weekend to take on the Dust Devils in Laredo, as they just played a single midweek game. Lubbock Christian won 3 of 4 by scoring 18 runs in the series opener and series finale over Texas A&M International. LCU left-hander Ryan Marquardt is tied for an LSC lead, 6 wins after going 5 innings, allowing just 1 earned run, picking up the win this weekend. They lead the league in hitting and home runs, but Texas A&M International's Jan Cabrera tossed a 3-hit complete game shutout with 6 strikeouts over LCU to get a road win, and limited the league's top offense and never allowed the Chaps to advance to second base. A Pirates series loss, so pretty good stuff from Jan Cabrera. In the series, Brevin McCool went 7 of 13 with 2 doubles, a triple, and 8 RBI. St. Mary's, they split with Texas A&M Kingsville. Texas A&M Kingsville's Sergio Lopez leads the league with a 2.76 ERA, and opponents are hitting 2.19 off him, which also leads the league, and he has a .96 whip. He went 5 innings and got the win while allowing just 1 earned run with St. Mary's over the weekend. And so the Lone Star are shaping up to be really good because, again, in that South Central regional, it's them and the RMAC. So we'll see how many bids does that Lone Star Conference get.
Right. Lone Star Conference is great. You got nearly 50 conference games. You stay in conference. You beat up on each other. And it's really just at the end of the day, you would think 4 teams, perhaps more. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But when you look at the RMAC, it feels like it's Mesa's world right now. So we'll see. UT Tyler looks good. Angelo reigning champs. Lubbock great. And then obviously West Texas A&M would likely be the 1 seed if we had it all happen right now. And speaking of 1 seeds, probably Central Missouri. That's what they would look like if we had a Central Regional right now. MIAA leader Central Missouri as we start to talk about the MIAA. Right now, they continue to impress. They've won 8 in a row. They're now 30-4 overall and 18-2 within the tough MIAA. Carter Young went 9 of 18. Jacob Steele went 9 of 16. They each hit 2 home runs for the Mules. And Brendan Van Brugesen also a 6 of 15 week. 5 of those 6 hits were home runs. He drove in 10. He's in the midst of a 20-game hit streak. He's hit 10 home runs during that span. He's hitting .440 on the year with 13 bombs. And so with all that being said, yes, they swept Newman on the road this week, included them scoring 50 runs in the first 2 games of the series, including a 30-run outburst in Game 2 of the series. And, you know, you talk about that stuff like it's nonchalant. 30 runs and 18-2 for this team in MIAA action. Missouri Southern, a team we still have in the top 10 despite a loss. They lost 2 of 3 to Northwest Missouri State, a tough, gritty team that ultimately had them fall 6-5 in extra innings in Game 1 of the series and lost the finale 12-5. They moved down to number 7 in our poll, but still maintained second place in the MIAA. Ryan Williams of Northwest Missouri went 8 of 17 with 2 bombs and 6 RBIs. Central Oklahoma, they won 5 in a row. Now they sit in 3rd place after sweeping Emporia State over the weekend, which included a 7-6, 11-inning win in Game 1 of the series. They're ranked 12th in the nation. Cade Robertson went 7 of 16. Couple doubles, a triple, and a homer last week for UCO. On the mound, Reese Felter, he continued to impress, a guy out of the pen who's been utilized at a pretty high level. 8 straight scoreless appearances for him. And he had 3 last week. On Tuesday, he went 4 2/3 scoreless, did not allow a hit out of the pen while picking up the win against Northwestern State. And then he threw 2 scoreless innings and allowed 1 hit, picking up the win versus Emporia in the series opener. And then in Game 2 of the series, 1 perfect inning out of the bullpen. So 7 2/3, just a 1 hit. He's 2-0 with a 1.72 ERA with impressive relief outings this past week. Pitt State, they're receiving votes in our poll, but they also lost a series at Northeastern State this past weekend, but had a solid midweek win over Drury recently. They traveled to number 2 UCM this weekend despite the loss. Pitt State still had an impressive outing from Nixon Brandon, who went 9 of 17 on the week with 8 runs scored, a couple doubles, 3 bombs, and 6 RBI. Pitt State's body of work still has them garnering our national attention despite the series loss. Washburn, they win 2 of 3 hosting Rogers State. Peyton McCarg, 8 of 12 on the week, 10 runs scored, 2 doubles, and he added 4 more home runs to his total. He's now hit 17 on the year through 32 games and leads the country with that home run total of 17. Fort Hays won 2 of 3 versus Missouri Western in Game 1. Ty Riley went complete game, allowed 3 runs, just 1 earned though, and struck out 7 while walking 1 for Fort Hays. In Game 3, it was Rafael Espinoza who went 9 innings and allowed 4 earned while moving to 3-1 on the season as Fort Hays picks up a series victory. And now we talk about our next league as a breakdown of the MIAA.
That's right, Will, and yeah, like we mentioned with Conference Carolinas, there's a lot of good teams in the MIAA, and depending on how the NSIC and the GAC play in the Central Region, some of those teams might be on the outside looking in. But as we continue on, we're going to talk about the Mountain East Conference, and we'll talk a little bit there as within the Mountain East Conference, we're going to talk about the North and South divisions of the Mountain East Conference. Frostburg State leads the North Division after winning 8 of their last 9 games, and they swept Davidson Elkins and West Virginia Wesleyan in doubleheader sweeps. They've scored 20-plus runs in each of their games versus West Virginia Wesleyan. Ethan Keipel, he was the MEC Baseball Player of the Week. It's the senior helped Bobcats to a 4-0 week with 8 hits, 9 RBI, and 9 runs scored. He went 8 of 14 with 4 home runs as well. Coming off the heels of a 1 in 15 weekend, he really broke out at the plate this week. He's hitting .356 on the season now. He's a .375 career hitter with 36 career home runs, while he's 7-4 during his career with a .337 ERA, 7 saves, 3 this season. Wheeling, they've won 6 of their last 7 games as they took 3 of 4 this week, taking 2 from Concord and splitting with Glenville State. Wheeling's Cody McCarley went 6 shutout innings on Monday and against David Elkins and got the win. Then went 6 innings against Glenville State, surrendered 4 earned runs, and picked up the victory in that outing as well. Solid week to pick up a 6-inning win on Monday. Then to do it again on Saturday on short rest, as we know. At the college level, it's usually 7 days is considered normal rest. So Fairmont State, they went 4-0 this week, sweeping Davidson Elkins and West Virginia Wesleyan. Noah Canterbury went 6 of 14 this past week to pace the offense. West Liberty lost all their games this weekend, dropping 2 to Glenville and Concord each. James Salvatore went 9 of 22 during the week for them. Notre Dame College lost both to West Virginia State and the University of Charleston this weekend as they have dropped 7 in a row. And now we talk a little bit about the South. Charleston is 21-6 and 8-2 within league play in a 3-way tie for first place in the South Division. They're 20-6. Charleston has won 7 in a row after winning at Salem and Notre Dame College this weekend. Charleston's AJ Carosas went 7 of 13 on the week with a double and 2 triples as well. West Virginia State, they went 4-1 this week with their 5-game win streak being snapped on a 7-6 loss to conclude the weekend at Salem. They took 2 from Notre Dame College. Aiden Hodges tossed a complete game shutout in the win versus Notre Dame, giving up 2 hits, both singles, while striking out 11, being named the MEC Pitcher of the Week, which is nothing new for the Yellow Jackets, as now he's earned Pitcher of the Week honor for 4 consecutive weeks. He has 10 or more Ks in each of the last 2 starts to pick up the second win of the season to lower his ERA to 3.41. Great rotation with Chris Morris, also is 4-1 with a 1.74 ERA and a .99 WHIP. Mike Huber went 6 of 16 with 2 home runs and 7 RBI. Concord got a sweep at Wheeling, but then got swept at Wheeling, but then swept West Liberty, scoring 10 plus runs in each game over West Liberty. Chris Satcher and Zach Saryeldon impressed, combining for 11 hits and 9 RBI total between the two. West Virginia Wesleyan lost 2 at Frostburg and 2 at Fairmont State. Hunter Eppen went 8 innings and allowed only 2 earned runs and a no decision for them against Fairmont. David Elkins dropped all their games as they sit 0-28 on the year. Shout out to Jeff Walters, who did put together an 8-21 week for them. And that covers the Mountain East Conference.
It does indeed, Robert. And now we'll talk about the NE10. We'll talk about a Franklin Pierce team who's played 5 games this past week, a Monday DH against Adelphi. And they won both games in a weekend set against Bentley where they took 2 of 3, including 15-0 win in Game 2 of that series. In that game, Drew DeLucia went 8 shutout with 2 hits, 11 Ks. He was on another level this weekend, and a guy we like to talk about, Ian Battapaglia, continues to be one of the best hitters in this division as he went 14 of 28 extra base hits and 10 RBIs. He is hitting .493, a .593, .831. That's his slash line in 20 games this season. He's must-see TV at the plate and on the base paths. He had 6 stolen bases as well. Southern New Hampshire, 16-10. They're 5-2 in their conference play. They had a 3-2 week, splitting a Monday doubleheader against New Haven and then taking a series against Assumption in a rescheduled weekend series. Jorge Burgos also had a home run and drove in 5. He's up to 10 bombs on the year with a team-leading 30 RBI. Austin Trumpour also set a season high in strikeouts with 12 after going 8 innings of 2 earned run ball in his start. Trumpour now has 53 strikeouts in 41 and a third innings. St. Michael's, who's 5-14 and 2-3 within league play, earned their first NE10 win this season, taking 2 of 3 against St. Anselm. Andrew Lanthier reached base 4 times and recorded 4 stolen bases, putting him first all-time in school history in stolen bases with 39 swiped bags. Keegan Burke also dropped his ERA to 4.28 after throwing 7 2/3 of one-run ball with 9 strikeouts, the second most for him this season. Jared Duquette also threw 6 innings of 3-run ball with 8 Ks as well in just his third start of the year. Pace, a 14-8 team and 7-3 within the Southwest Division, went 3-1 on the week, defeating St. Thomas Aquinas in a midweek contest 4-1, and then took 2 of 3 at home against New Haven, who's 12-13 and now 8-8 within Southwest Division. What really impressed us, though, is the Setters tagging the previously national ERA leader for 9 hits and 6 earned runs in Liam Carroll. Matthew Rinaldi was leading the charge as the leadoff spot for the Setters, went 3 of 5 with 3 runs scored and 2 RBI in that particular matchup, and he was a single shy of a cycle in the game. He went 4 of 16 on the week overall. Patrick Gleason threw 8 shutout with 4 Ks in his start. ERA down to 2.1 with a .9 whip and 34 1/3 of action this season. Southern Con State, they split a doubleheader against St. Anselm on Tuesday before taking a road series against St. Rose. And they won both games on the doubleheader Saturday. Chad Fideli also did a little bit on both sides of the ball for the Owls. He went 9-22, 8 RBI, but also struck out 7 and 4 1/3 in the start. St. Rose, their senior, Luis Gendron, extended his hit streak to 11 games, went 6 of 14 against Southern Con, a St. Rose team that's now 4-2 within league play. Gendron leading the team, hitting .433 on the season. Adelphi, they're 10-12, and they're 3-5 within the Southwest Division. They did get a series win, though, against American International. Alex Rendy went 7 of 11 in the series from the leadoff spot with a home run and 3 runs driven in. Rendy is hitting .340 on the season in 47 at-bats, 13 starts. American International's 2-2 week. They beat Bentley in a single midweek game before dropping the series to Adelphi. Tim Kroll threw the ball well for AIC in relief in their lone win against Adelphi, going 6 innings of 2-run ball with 7 punchies. And that's a breakdown of that conference we call the NE10. Now, everybody calls it the NE10, but yes, that's a breakdown.
And yeah, great breakdown there, Will, of the NE10. So we're going to transition on now to the NSIC and talk a little bit there about the NSIC. So first, we obviously have to mention Wayne State, Nebraska, Wayne State College in Nebraska. They've won 5 in a row, and they sit at 12-2 in NSIC play with a 17-7 mark overall. They got a sweep against Minot State this weekend and sit in first place in the league. Braden Cannon went 8-15 over the weekend with 3 runs scored, a double, a triple, 9 RBI, and 5 walks. Corbin Kirk also threw the ball well as a lefty, struck out 12 batters while tossing 7 innings and allowed just 1 earned run. He has 48 Ks in 33 innings with a 3 ERA on the season. Minnesota State swept Minnesota Duluth in Fayette, Iowa, home of the Upper Iowa Peacocks, now in the GLVC, formerly in the NSIC, as Minnesota State outscored UMD 43-20 in the 4-game series, resulting in its first NSIC sweep of the season. Luis Magers had 2 hits in each of the final 3 games with a home run, 3 RBI, and 3 runs scored in that stretch, and went 5 innings, allowing 2 earned runs on the hill as well. Number 19, Augustana, they're 10-4 in NSIC play. They just played 2 games over the weekend, which was an altered series, losing both the Minnesota Crookston, originally supposed to play at Crookston, but then the series flipped due to weather, and they just played a single doubleheader instead of 4 games. Crookston won 9-8, 9-5 on Saturday. Josh Dykoff, 4 of 5, home run and 2 RBI, 4 runs scored, and Jake Jelly, 5 of 8, 3 runs, 2 doubles, a home run, and 6 RBI. Both performed well in those 2 games. Jelly with that walk-off home run in that Game 1 win, 3-run shot. St. Cloud State, they won 3-4 against Sioux Falls on the road this past weekend. Soares Smith got the save in Game 3 and then started and went 4 innings in Game 4 while also having 5 hits in the series with 3 doubles, a triple, 5 RBI, and 3 runs scored during the series. Luke Tubey went 6 1/3 with an earned run while improving to 4-1 on the season. He's won 4 of his last 5, and he has a 2.68 ERA on the season. Winona State swept Bemidji last week, then took 3-4 against Mary this week in the first 3 games of the series. They only allowed 4 total runs, which helped them clinch its second straight series win in the NSIC before dropping the opener. The Arms really impressed again. Peter Twitey followed up his perfect game, going 7 innings, allowing 1 earned run, and picking up the win for his second straight complete game and just his 3rd start of the year. His ERA is now down to 2.63. Pierce Gripsmaker went 7 innings, allowing 1 earned run and 2 hits with 8 Ks and 0 walks for the Warriors. Cole Heinrichsen went 6 shutout and allowed only 3 hits. Their staff allowed only 2 home runs over the weekend, while UMary had launched 45 home runs through 19 games prior to that series. Southwest Minnesota State swept Bemidji State, and Isaac Nett was a big reason for that sweep. He went 10-17, 8 runs, 3 doubles, 4 home runs, and 17 RBI, while drawing 4 walks this weekend en route to our National Hero of the Week selection from D2 Baseball Insider. Check out with our interview with him in our magazine. His teammate Owen Latendresse went 9-16 with 7 runs scored and 5 extra base hits. Colby Kyer tossed 5 shutout innings and has 5 straight starts going 5+ and allowing an earned run or fewer, as he's won his last 4 decisions, 4-1 on the season. With a 1.63 ERA, he has 42 strikeouts to 5 walks on the season. Northern State and Concordia St. Paul split their series. Gavin Rush was the biggest standout on the mound in this series, as he went 7 innings, allowed just 2 earned runs with 5 strikeouts and 0 walks while picking up the win. Brendan Phillips went 5-12 over the series for Northern State, while Nick Timpson went 8-17, and Colby McBroom went 5-13 over the series for Concordia St. Paul.
And now we'll continue to talk about conferences here, Robert. We'll talk about the PacWest, and we'll talk about a Westmont team. A team that moved up to Division II and performs well. 14-1-1 right now. Within PacWest play, picked up a 4-game sweep on Monday and Tuesday last week against Hawaii at Hilo to extend the win streak to an impressive 12 games. This Warriors staff has allowed just 7 runs in the series. A 22-7-3 Westmont team. Ryan Humphreys continued to dominate, 5 shutout innings for him with 10 Ks, 4 hits. He has a 2.52 ERA and 39 2/3. Daniel Patterson is raking with a multi-hit game in 3 of the 4 games in the series with 3 home runs and 4 RBIs. And he is at a high level right now, hitting .382 within conference play, with being top 10 nationally with 10 bombs. He's hit safely in 14 of his last 15 games. This is a team that was in NAIA a year ago, and here they are winning 22 of their first 32 games of the season at the NCAA Division II level. Point Loma, a 26-7-1 team, 18-5-1 within conference play. They've now swept back-to-back PacWest series to improve their win streak to 8 games. After their sweep of Chaminade, Scott Anderson became the school's all-time hits leader with his 257th. He now has 258. With the Sea Lions, he's second on the team with a 257 average. We also have to mention Jake Entrikin, who also has hit safely in 13 of his last 14 games with a 5-game hit streak and a 5-game RBI streak. Entrikin also with 6 hits and a home run and 8 RBI in the series to catapult his average to a team-best 390 and a team-best 8 home runs. All the Point Loma starters went 6 or more innings and allowed 4 or less earned runs. So big shout-out to Dylan Miller, Ray Skibluski, Austin Coleman, and Brandon Jackal. Hawaii Pacific improved their win streak to 5 games after a sweep of Biola and a midweek win over NAIA Vanguard. Kota Suzuki had 6 hits in the series, improving his hit streak to 8 games and a team-best 415 average. Chase Taylor went 9 of 20 in the series with 2 homer, 8 RBI, 2+ hits and 1 or more RBI in each game of the Biola series. Taylor leads the team with 30 runs driven in on the season. Azusa Pacific and Concordia Irvine split their 4-game set. And a big reason why the split happened versus a hot team was Jake Covey. Jake Covey for CUI dismantled the Azusa offense in game 1 of the series. 9-inning complete game. Just 5 hits allowed and 1 run. And he struck out 16 to snap a team that had won 10 in a row. So Covey atop the PacWest in ERA, a 1.96 figure, and 41 and a third with 51 punch outs. And Concordia Irvine has one of the best arms in the league for sure. Fresno Pacific was off this past week. They host Biola Monday to Tuesday and a DH before a 4-game weekend set against Westmont. And that is your breakdown of the PacWest.
Hey, and that's a great breakdown of the PacWest as we advance to the Peach Belt Conference, and we're going to talk a little bit about Georgia College and State as they are atop the Peach Belt right now at 11-4, 20-12 overall. They traveled up to Aiken, South Carolina, took the first 2 games of the series before dropping to the third to remain at the top of the conference standings. Brandon Bellflower raised his average back over 400 to 402 on the season after 6 hits in 14 at-bats. Bellflower has hit safely in 22 of his last 23 games. North Georgia, they're 21-10, 10-5 in PBC play. They snapped their 5-game losing streak by taking 2 of 3 at home against a ranked Georgia Southwestern, including a 5-run ninth in Game 1 of the series to win 7-6 on a walk-off. Philip Ard provided value on both sides on the plate and defensively, going 4-10 with 3 home runs and 4 RBI, and a play in one of our top 10 plays of the week. Ard earned Conference Player of the Week honors. Andres Opata also had 6 hits and 13 at-bats with 5 driven in. Both Ard and Opata are at the top of the team and hitting at .342 and .326 respectively. Georgia Southwestern, they're 25-9. They're still ranked at 25, 9-6 in PBC play. Their lone win became behind the arm of Andrew Geiger, who's 4-1 after throwing 6 innings, 5 hits allowed, 4 runs, 2 walks, and 11 strikeouts. Lander, they went 2-2 on the week. They dropped a midweek game to Belmont Abbey and then won a road series against USC Beaufort, scoring 54 total runs. The series was won by our National Pitcher of the Week selection, Anson Merrick, who threw a 7-inning no-hitter with 6 strikeouts. Hear our interview with him. Chris Manriquez went 10-17 for the week, improving his conference average to .326. Gary Garrett had a great weekend series, going 8-14 with 6 RBI. Garrett leads the team with a .410 batting average in Peach Belt play. Columbus State, they're 9-6 in Peach Belt play, 20-14 overall. They traveled to Augusta and took 2 games out of 3 of the Cougars. Now have the best road record in the conference at 12-5. How about the hitting of Cole McGlumphy? He went 7-13 in the series with 3 doubles and 4 driven in. McGlumphy is now hitting .358 in 24 starts. Augusta's Kyle LaRoche went 9-19 on the week, including the Monday game against USC Beaufort, with a homer and 5 RBIs. LaRoche in 19 starts is hitting .431 with 5 home runs and 22 driven in. Flagler had a great week, going 4-0, defeating Florida Tech in a midweek on a walk-off single by Trey Newland, and swept conference opponent Claflin. Taylor Clapp delivered at the plate, going 8-10 with 2 home runs and 12 RBI. Clapp is now hitting .365 with 5 homers and 22 RBI in 14 Peach Belt games, .298 on the season. Justin Haskins got his first start of the season through 5 shutout with 3 strikeouts. Haskins, in 7 total appearances, has a 1.64 ERA in 11 innings, and that wraps up the Peach Belt.
Yes, sir, it does indeed. And while we'll talk about the PSAC, we have to talk about East Stroudsburg. They're playing at the highest level in the nation right now, winning 21 straight games with a perfect 12-0 mark in PSAC play. They move up to 13th in the country, moving up quite a bit in our rankings, but they're 24-3 after their 4-game sweep of Mansfield. Jake Rothenhauser also win 8-14 on the week, 4 doubles, a 2 homers, 6 RBI. Parker Fry also 5-12 with 7 RBI to pace the offense for ESU. Brent Francisco also had 5 shutout innings. He has a 2.20 ERA with 46 strikeouts to 4 walks on the season for East Stroudsburg. 21 wins in a row. But they're not the highest ranked team in this league. That's Millersville, who's 3rd in the country at 22-5 and 15-1 in PSAC play. He has won or they have won 6 in a row after their sweep over Lock Haven. Connor Cook is 5-0. Alex Micah is 7-0. They both threw the ball well. Micah tossed 6 shutout innings, and then Cook had a career-high 10 Ks and a complete game. Jeff Sabater stole 7 bases during the series with 6 hits during the series. He now has the second most steals, Robert, in a single season in Millersville history, already with 36, 4 shy of the single season program record, which he surely will shatter. Millersville, here's a fun nugget for you. They are 24-0 this season when Micah Cook or Carson Kalina pitch. So those are combined 18-0. And those guys are 24-0 when any of those guys make an appearance overall. Jimmy Kirk, who is filling in for Matthew Williams, their big star first baseman who's injured right now, had a great week. He went 7 of 13 with 7 RBIs during the series. Shippensburg split against Shepherd, with the home team sweeping each leg of the doubleheader. Shippensburg, they're third in PSAC East. They'll take on first place and undefeated in PSAC Play East Stroudsburg this coming weekend. Connor DeWeese went 6 of 16 for Shepherd, while Carter Hines went 7 of 17 for Shippensburg. Jackson Delina went 7 innings with 1 earned run and 13 Ks. No walks while picking up the win to move to 2-1 on the season with a 3.41 ERA and 46 strikeouts in 29 innings so far this season. Westchester swept at Chestnut Hill and Dewville over the weekend, and they have now won 8 games in a row. Nick Anoga threw 4 innings of 1 earned ball on Monday and then tossed 5 shutout innings on Saturday to pick up wins in both outings. Anthony Bocchio went 8 of 18 over the week, and Evan Prophy went 8 of 18 as well. Bocchio has a 21-game hit streak that was snapped over the weekend, but still an impressive week for him as he's hitting .486 on the season. Bloomsburg, they took 3 of 4 against Kutztown. It was Jacob Reefer who went 10 of 17 with 8 runs scored, 4 RBI, and 5 walks. He's hitting .333 on the season. Bo Barthel, 7 of 9 for Kutztown. Wyatt Metzger, he had 3 home runs last week for Bloomsburg. In the West Division of the PSAC, we'll talk about a California team who split with Seton Hill. Colby Roque also went 3 of 8 with 2 bombs over the weekend. Matt Frazetta went 6 of 12 for Seton Hill. California's arms of Nathan Holmes and Sam Georgiana, they threw the ball well. Holmes, the sophomore, he got the well throwing effort on the hill, but he got the loss tossing in the first complete game of the year. He went 7 innings, allowed 3 earned, and he has a 1.71 ERA on the season, just 4 earned in 21 innings, while Georgiana made his 5th career start, earning his first complete game victory. And he tossed 7 innings, no earned, 4 Ks, 3 hits. He's 3-0 with a 2.95, a couple of good arms on California's team. IUP split with Clarion over the weekend after a walk-off balk to allow IUP to win the series finale. The Hawks are tied atop the PSAC West with California. Darren Byers went 7 of 11, and Scott McMahon went 8 of 20 to help them secure a split. IUP's Mark Edeburn is 3-0 with a 2.97 ERA and a .99 whip through 5 starts with 3 complete games. He's 7 innings, 1 earned this weekend with 5 Ks and no walks. Edeburn throwing at a high level. Slippery Rock split with Mercyhurst. Gage Gillott threw the ball well for Slippery Rock with 7 innings, allowing 2 hits, no runs to move to 4-1 on the season. However, Mercyhurst's pitching limited Slippery Rock to 1 run in each of Game 2 and 3 of the series as they were able to take the finale and salvage a split. Slippery Rock was. Speaking of throwing the ball well, Ryan Rafalski went 7 innings, did not allow a run with 2 hits and 8 Ks on the midweek win for them against Notre Dame in his first start, 4th appearance of the season. Pitt Johnstown took 3 of 4 against Gannon after losing the opener 9-7 in 11 innings. They came back to win in extras in Game 2, a 3-2 win in 9 innings, and won 2 on Monday to then take the series. In Game 2 of the series, win. Ben Tome went 7 innings, 6 Ks, allowed 2 hits across 88 pitches, but the game was 0-0 headed into extras before Gannon scored 2 in the top of the 9th. And the Mountain Cats walked it off in the bottom of the 9th with 3 runs of their own. And that is a breakdown of the PSAC.
Hey, it's a great breakdown, Will, of the PSAC because hey, it's the biggest conference in Division Two baseball with 17 total teams. So, of course, it's going to take a few minutes to break down the PSAC. But now we transition on to the RMAC, and we're going to talk about Colorado Mesa as we normally do to start off the RMAC. They're 14-2 in RMAC action, and they're 21-9 overall, looking like the dominant power in the league per usual after a slow start to the season. They dropped the first game to Regis 14-11, but then turned around and won 3-4. They've won 14 of their last 15 overall. Rob Sherrar, who struggled to begin the season, Will, as you highlighted before, hitting under 200 at one point. He had another great week at the plate, 10 of 18 with 3 home runs and 9 RBI. He's now on a 15-game hit streak and is hitting a gaudy 448 on the year, despite the losing effort. Adam Paniagua was 8 of 14 with 5 RBI or 5 extra base hits and 13 RBI for the Shovel Boys and Regis in the series. Colorado School of Mines took 3 of 4 games at New Mexico Highlands. Jackson Woolwine and Mason Andrews win a combined 16 of 30 at the plate with 7 extra base hits and 10 RBI. Jackson Bakovich threw 7 shutout innings out of the bullpen during the series and allowed just 2 hits and 1 run while striking out 8 and not walking a batter. Alex Honeyman went 7 innings and allowed 1 earned run, an impressive outing for the Mines. MSU Denver, they took 3 of 4 at CSU Pueblo over the weekend to move to 500 in RMAC play. Jesse Velders and Tyler Toby combined for 16 hits and 23 at-bats over the week for MSU Denver with 5 doubles, 2 triples, 3 home runs, and 10 driven in. Adams State, they swept New Mexico Highlands 2 weeks ago, scoring 9 runs in every game, including 21 in the series finale. They swept back-to-back RMACs weekends, now winners of 8 in a row, a program record, but they were not in action this past week. UCCS and Colorado Christian split over the weekend. Evan Reynolds went 6 1/3 and allowed 1 earned run despite a loss in a solid outing for UCCS. Garrett Shriver tossed 4 scoreless across 2 appearances during the series. He picked up a win and a save. He has had 4 straight scoreless appearances spanning 9 innings, and he's just allowed 3 hits in that stretch. Aaron Morgan went 6 of 15 with a double, triple, and a home run. And that will wrap up the RMAC.
RMAC's a good league. RMAC's got that Mesa team going hard right now, so it's going to be fun to see what they continue to do. We're going to talk about the SAC as they're entering their final month of play with the regular season closing at the end of April. Catawba, 25-9. They held their turf strong. They're now 17-1 at home. They swept Lincoln Memorial over the weekend. Levi Perel had 5 hits in the weekend with 4 RBI. He's hit safely in 10 straight. Sam Hunter is hitting .382 on the season. He went 6 of 12 this weekend with 3 RBI. He leads the team with 35 runs driven in. Payne Stolzworth went 8 innings of 3-run ball with 6 strikeouts to go 7-1 in game 2 of the series. In 58 2/3, Stolzworth leads the team with a 3.53 ERA. Tusculum, 20-14 and 14-7, took a midweek game against a ranked Lee team and 2 of 3 games against a good Wingate team. Zach Wilson led the charge offensively for the Pioneers, going 7 of 13 with 3 doubles and 3 runs driven in. Seth Willis recorded 2 saves over the weekend and going 3 scoreless innings over 2 appearances with 5 strikeouts. He's got a 2.86 ERA on the season now with 5 saves. About a team that, okay, Catawba's the team we're talking about, but Tusculum is a team that, hey, they're saying, hey, talk about us, and they're 20-14. We're talking about them. Breon Ishmael went 6 of 15 over the weekend with a pair of home runs and 4 RBI for Wingate. Ishmael's hitting .326 on the season and 4 RBI. Gabriel Santiago hitting 7 of 12 as well. Santiago and Hannah are the top 2 hitters on the team in hitting this season. Sion Barnett had a near-perfect week for Limestone, going 5 of 7 with 6 runs driven in. Barnett hitting .363 with 38 RBI leads the team in both categories. A Coker team traveled to play that Limestone team and won 2 of 3 games in that series. Newberry, they went 3-1 on the week, and they finished series against UVA at Wise on Monday, winning 12-1 and winning 2 of the 3 games against Mars Hill. Matas Marcinski also made his second start of the season, 11th appearance for him, and he delivered in game 1 of the series, going 8 shutout innings, 4 hits, no walks, 7 Ks, improving to 2-0. Hunter French has a team best 2.93 ERA, allowed 1 hit, 6 shutout innings in game 2 of the series. He struck out 5. Mars Hill, they've struggled 4-14 in conference play, but they went 2-2 on the week with the aforementioned series loss, but picked up a huge road midweek win, defeating then number 5 Young Harris 6-5. Carson Newman had a great week, going 4-1, sweeping Montevideo in a midweek doubleheader and taking 2 of 3 on the road. And Lenore Ryan, head coach Tom Griffin, shout out to him. 700 wins as the midweek win got him to that milestone. Logan Floyd had 5 hits on the week, 3 of those bombs, 10 RBI for him in that series. Lenore Ryan set a season attendance record in one game with 855 fans in attendance. Set a season attendance record, but 855 put them over the total for the entire season. So, hey, how about that? How about a 21-14 Lenore Ryan team? People are coming to see them, setting records attendance-wise. We love to see that. It's so cool. I mean, Angelo State, they set a single game record with what was it, multiple thousands of fans last year for a big playoff matchup. But it was the most attended game this season by a home team not named Angelo State, which is a pretty cool thing. Cole Stanford also played in 2 games this weekend for the Bears, going 4 of 8 with 2 bombs and 4 RBIs. So shout out to Lenore Ryan and their fans. We know you guys are tuned in. Anderson, South Carolina had 3 wins on the week. A Monday win against Limestone and a series win against Bluefield State. Zach Stover went 6 of 14 on the week as he takes over the team lead, hitting .364 in the year. And Emory and Henry, they took their first conference series of the weekend against UVA Wise, winning 2 of 3 games. Jared Foley, 6 of 16, 2 extra base hits as he leads the team in batting average at .364. And that is a breakdown of the conference that we love and we like to break down in the SAC.
Hey, great breakdown there of the SAC, as we continue on now to the SIAC conference. And, well, in the SIAC, Albany State, they have won 13 straight games. They swept Clark Atlanta over the weekend. Zane Ross went 4 of 8 with 2 home runs and 5 RBI in the series. He's recorded 1 or more RBI in his last 6 games and is second on the team with a .375 average. Brady Davis threw 4 shutout innings in relief with 6 strikeouts to get the win in game 2 of the series. Davis leads with a .325 ERA in 36 innings, 9 appearances, 6 starts. During the win streak, the Golden Rams as a team has been getting on base at an impressive 507 clip. So every time a Golden Ram comes up to the plate, there's a 50-50 chance they're getting on base. Savannah State, they're 15 in SIAC play. They won a series against Miles College 2-1. Jose Santiago clinched series win by throwing a complete game, allowing 4 hits, 1 run, and 3 strikeouts to go 6-1 with a 1.8 ERA. Andrew Mann threw 6 innings of 2-run ball with 7 strikeouts. His ERA is down to 2.80 with a conference-leading .79 whip. Mann has 42 strikeouts to 5 walks in 42 1/3 innings. Kendall Spencer went 7 of 12 with a home run and 6 RBI. Spencer has the most extra base hits with 12 and RBI 38 on the team. Trey Rutledge had a great weekend for Miles. 16-16, 14-7 in SIAC play on the base pass. He's swiped 6 bags. He's 23 of 25 on the season in stolen bases. Lane, they won a series against Spring Hill College at home. Dakota Daniel led the way offensively, collecting 5 hits and 12 at-bats with 4 RBI. Daniel leads the team in hitting in conference play at .338, .326 on the season. Edward Waters, they're 20-12, 14-6 in SIAC play. Had a perfect 4-0 week after beating Thomas University in a midweek contest and sweeping Tuskegee in a weekend set. Torrey Jones is the one to spotlight for this Edward Waters offense. He went 7-12 with a home run and 7 RBI in the week. He's hitting .404 in SIAC play behind Leonel Garcia, who leads the team in hitting overall at .424 and conference play at .441. Alexander Davila improves to 4-0 after throwing a 7-inning complete game, allowing just 1 run and striking out 5. Kentucky State dropped a midweek contest to Kentucky Wesleyan before sweeping Lemoyne Owen in conference play. Parker White has been tearing up conference play for the Thoroughbreds, hitting .449 in SIAC play. Eric Turner threw 5 shutout innings with 3 strikeouts in his start, allowing just a single hit. Morehouse dropped a midweek doubleheader to Payne College, but took 2 of 3 against Benedict. Jalen Green has been fun to watch this past week for the Maroon Tigers, going 8 of 18 with 8 RBI. Green is up to .402 with 4 homers and 34 RBI, all in the team lead in each of those categories. And that will wrap up the SIAC.
And now we'll continue to talk about conferences and talk about a Sunshine State Conference and talk about a St. Leo team who's 27-4. They played 3 of 4 games this week with their midweek contests against Eckerd postponed to April 16th. But the Lions swept their opponent, Florida Southern, with a lot of players getting opportunities as 17 position players made an appearance this weekend. Mikey Scott went 4 of 4 with a home run and 3 RBI in his lone start. He's up to 415 and 65 at-bats and 18 starts this year. And then who else? Luke Lashuka, 8-0 on the year, a 1.47 ERA. He was great again, going 6 innings and just 1 run with 9 Ks. After this past weekend, St. Leo took the lead in the conference at hitting as well at a 306 clip. Number 1, Tampa, though, a team that's 10-2. They took a road series against Nova Southeastern and one of our series to watch, as well as winning a Monday game against NAIA team St. Thomas. McAllister Jorgensen went 5 of 11 on the week with a double, a home run, and 4 RBI and 37 at-bats. He's hitting .351. Alex Canny improved to 8-0 as well after his 1-run allowed start over 6 innings with 5 Ks. So a pair of 8-0 arms, Luke Lashuka and Alex Canny, for the 2 top teams in the Sunshine State Conference, something to watch. Barry, they get a series at home over Rollins, defeating them twice by the exact score of 6-2. Sean Shelley played in 2 wins and was a key contributor, going 4 of 8 with a home run and 4 RBI. And has 2 home runs and 9 RBIs and 38 at-bats this season. Freddie Rodriguez is hitting .392. He went 6 of 12 over the week and 14 hits in his last 15 games. Florida Tech took a series at Embry-Riddle, and the Panthers had Josh Bagg, Trenton Anderson throw the ball really well against a good ERAU offense. Beck is a team-leading .287 ERA, and then Camden Coleman's hitting .298 as he had 5 hits and 12 at-bats over the weekend. Palm Beach Atlantic, they've got 6 in a row. They swept Lynn, including a walk-off by Matthew Fernando, who's hitting .345 to lead the team. That closed out a sweep. Daniel Foster threw 7 shutout innings. He had a season-high 8 Ks to improve to 3-3 on the year. Eckerd swept the non-conference weekend against Southern Wesleyan. Reed Liesel also leads the team in hitting at .337. He continued his hit streak to 9 games. Liesel went 4 of 10 over the weekend. He's hit safely in 18 of his last 19 games. And Gavin Grubbs and Will Stockman were good out of the bullpen for them. And it's impressive to see what this team can continue to do. And that is a breakdown of the Sunshine State Conference.
Hey, you broke it down really well, Will, and we'll break down the final conference, and not really a conference, but the independents, as Bluefield State. They went 3-2 on the week. They're 18-10 overall. They had a doubleheader midweek sweep against Davis and Elkins before dropping 2 of 3 games against Anderson. Regardless, this is the best start in school history, as Teron Hammond is a guy that you want to talk about because, well, he's hit safely in every game he's appeared in this season, as he's hit safely in 28 straight games. He's hitting a gaudy .452. Noah Moritz is another guy to pay attention to, as he's hitting .456 on the season after going 7-16 this past week. Salem had a bit of a rough week, going 1-3 by losing a doubleheader. Charleston is playing a doubleheader with West Virginia State. Tyler Shin has had at least one RBI in each game over the weekend, 7 in total. He went 6 of 15 and leads the team with 38 RBI. Virginia State went 1 of 4 this past week. They're 9-17 overall. Their lone win was against Newport News Apprentice School. Joseph Hastings lowered his ERA to 2.53 after throwing 7 innings of 1-run ball with 9 strikeouts in that win. And that will wrap up all of our conference-by-conference recaps of the past week.